linesman breaks up a fight prematurely and guys don't get a chance to drop their gloves, they're only going to go at it again the first chance they get.
And that was the first chance as they stepped out of the penalty box. Boom. There they are. Well, those are pretty big boys, and I'd have to rate that a draw. And while they unpile, we'll be back to St. Paul in a moment. That save percentage. You see a lot of rubber, stopped most of it. And his opposite number, Derek Wilkinson, who started the game tonight for Atlanta, also among the leading goalies.
Good look at the backhand chance that Pietrangelo just made a save on. And this is Sullivanov. Good backhand chance, but again, the big glove. And look at you can see the glow of the puck right through the webbing of Frank Pietrangelo's big mitt.
Play is back.
Initial dump in was intended to be a pass. Pietrangelo played it sort of carelessly to his right side, and it got by his own player, Todd Hartje, and then that shot and the rebound, bang. That was a weak little backhander by Gavey that goes off the far post and in the net. And I think Frankie was thinking about the pass that he had just made, and it was a giveaway. But Aaron Gavey gets his second in the offensive zone. He already has a pair of goals, looking for his hat trick, his first professional hat trick. And again, an odd man situation. Counter through the neutral zone, good pass. It actually went off a skate by his brother. And you can't tell which one of those guys is which anyway, but
no.
For goodness sakes, it was Peter over to Chris, and Chris got robbed right there by Pietrangelo.
Knight's back on top, 6-5.
Well, mark it down, folks. That's Peter's very first goal in the International Hockey League, and his very first point. First goal of the season. Peter Ferraro takes advantage of his line mate's one-handed pass again. We saw that in the first period, but the big guy, Sullivanov, takes it again with one hand on his stick, right on the tape. A perfect little pass by number 12, right on the stick of number 10, Peter Ferraro, and that one gets by Pietrangelo on the short side.
So in 15 minutes.
And then Hextall let it rip from the right wing, and Greenlay has to make a pretty good save at it. Greenlay, came in awfully cold in that second period, but since then has settled down and made some good saves. Their first face-off win of this period, and it was tipped. It looked like it might have been Dave Christian with the tip, number 27, a right-hand shot. I believe it was Christian that got it. Well, this is the goal that ties up the game. Now, there's a lot of keys here. Good low shot, but right here, veteran Dave Christian redirects this shot. And I say redirects it. He's got to go to his backhand, changing the direction completely. So a goaltender is leaning to his left, and instead, that puck suddenly goes off a stick and goes right through his legs. Goaltender had no... Peter Ferraro, number 10, he's going to back up as his brother Chris gets the puck back to Drulia. A little backhand pass, one-touch passing, no mistake by Drulia, no hesitation, right to Ferraro. Now he's going to go high to the glove side, wait for Pietrangelo to go down. Pietrangelo does go down, and he makes no mistake. What a great shot by Peter Ferraro. It's good news, but he tries to go wide. See right here, Hextall's diving now. The patience of Gretzky, and it was the stick actually that tripped him up. Hextall's stick came in and just caught him, and Gretzky was able to hit the boards, face and chest first. He really isn't a very big guy in terms of his width and his body hit, and his stick was already dropped. And LaPuma's a very tough individual, and he's an honest individual. He spent some time last year with Tampa Bay of the National Hockey League, and I think what Moran was looking for right there was hopefully a power play. So he's got a left-hand shot working the right point. Dave Christian's on the left side of your screen. He's got it cocked and ready. Perfect one-timer. Now this puck goes underneath the stick of goaltender Mike Greenlay, but luckily those big white fluffy pillows, and you see the fireball right on his pad.
Mike Sarator.
Finally, the Moose had something right in a good quality scoring area. Outlet pass went to Corvo. He played it behind the net. Now you see number 17, Larry Olin, right there, lets it snap. Now the first shot was stopped. The rebound came right out, and it went off Derek Mayer. And then right back into the goaltender, Mike Greenlay.
Wow.
And unofficially, I believe the Minnesota Moose are 0 for 20 this year with the man advantage. 0 for the season so far, and let's face it, it's killing them.
The Knights are a big hit in Dixieland. Up north, pro hockey's back in Minnesota with the Minnesota Moose, and these Moose are hunting for their first win in the IHL. They thought they had it Saturday night, but no. NHL veteran Dave Christian scores in the shootout to beat Denver, but the goal light never came on and the goal was never counted. The Grizzlies ended up with a sudden death shootout win. The winners celebrated their good fortune while the Moose stalked into the night, hoping tonight is the night for their celebration. Hello, everyone, and welcome to
I don't think that's a compliment, but for Wilkinson, he's a young guy. It probably doesn't bother him, obviously. He was part of the Turner Cup champion Indianapolis Ice, and in this particular play, there's a puck waiting on the short side, and he made no mistake whatsoever. The initial shot off the giveaway by Hartshee. After a good save by Wilkinson, the rebound went to his left. Here's the initial shot by Hartshee, then the rebound, and Williams, a left-hand shot. His skates were nearly behind the line, but he finds the open side on the short side. And Sean Williams has his first goal of the year. Better than this. That is a terrific hit by Derek Mayer, but it results in a good scoring chance by the Moose, although this backhand by Ivan Corvo a little high and over that net.
And the face-off will be in the Minnesota Moose zone after the icing.
And the majority of the action has been in Wilkinson's end, and he's had to come up with a couple of not only saves, but a couple of 2-on-2 situation. And the initial play across the blue line, a neat little play right there. Then the puck goes over to Gabby, and Gabby doesn't make any mistake. Even though he's got one of the Moose all over him, he still fires it low to the stick side. And here's the nifty little play. That was done by Jason Ruff. Then right over to Gabby, then bang, right through the stick and the body. And the glow of the puck here, but he had the most goals in franchise history with 54. On this particular play, he's a right-hand shot, so he takes it in the slot, so he decides to go to the backhand because he has time. And that looked like that was going right to the top shelf, right over the glove side, but Frank Pietrangelo makes a pretty good save, 29 years of age, and he, in fact, had a choice as to whether or not he could position, and some good puck work by the Knights. Pietrangelo gets caught on his knees, and Ferraro's got his second goal of the year. He's not supposed to be the goal-scoring guy between these two Ferraro brothers, but a good start so far, 2 goals, that one coming on the power play. Very assertive. When he saw an opening, he really fired it hard, and he took advantage of that.
So power play goal for Chris Ferraro, the Atlanta Knights.
The pass goes out, a one-handed pass. That was Selivanov, made the pass with one hand on his stick, and it's Brent Gretzky sliding through the crease. At first, not sure if it went in, looks again, bang, he's got himself a tally. His first lawyer, Frankie, sue for lack of support in your own zone without question. Or have some of the fellas come back and introduce themselves on your own team. At this point right now, again, though, not sure if it's a combination of Minnesota not working it, but Atlanta is really being aggressive in the offensive zone. And you see that even though they're forwards, especially those Ferraro brothers, they're up the side. Moran actually starts this entire play, and after going behind the net on the initial shot, there he is, all alone in front of Wilkinson, gives one little head fake, has enough patience with the puck, and then settles it down after getting a good feed from Corvo, and bang, this one goes right between the legs of Wilkinson, and Moran's got his second goal of the season.
So it's a 1-goal deficit for the Minnesota. Bang with the glove!
This week's Paying Off the Post is the International Hockey League versus maybe the National Hockey League. The different speeds, the different level of play. This morning we had a chance to talk to a lot. Initial shot saved by Greenlay. Rebound. And Dean Kolstad's there to tap it home. The big 6'6" defenseman, not known as a big offensive threat. His first goal of the season. That goal comes
19. Well, there's a look at Mike Greenlay. He's 6'3", 235 pounds. The new goalie for Atlanta, 27 years old. Played 34 games with the Knights last year. 9th-round pick of the Edmonton Oilers back in '88. That's a little bit of a thumbnail sketch on Mike Greenlay.
And my correction, Tom, that was a short-handed goal.
Sean Williams going for his second goal, and it goes in. And just like that, the Moose is loose. That's the second short-handed goal on this Minnesota penalty. And Greenlay must wish it. He was still on the bench.
Williams is a good offensive player. Now what he does here is he stays with it. Nifty move going to the inside. Another great move going into the slot. Not only does he get the shot away, nobody touches Sean Williams, and he's able to tap home the rebound as well. But the only reason in the world why he gets this goal is because he has got terrific offensive skill. made several good moves, kept going to the bench, and I think John Paris Jr. right now is calling a timeout. Ferraro, the same play on each goal, all alone in front of the net, all alone in front of Pietrangelo because some of his line mates were doing the dirty work. But you see on the left side of your left center, Ferraro did a great job of anticipating the turnover the entire time. And once he found himself alone in the slot, he had plenty of patience, very confident handling the puck. And it was his brother that put the puck right on his tape on the backhand. And as we said at the beginning of this program, they're both right-hand shots. They're both very similar in stature. They're identical in stature, of course. And that was a perfect feed from brother Peter right over to Chris.
And the second goal tonight for Chris Ferraro, his third of the season.
Well, he had to be very quick in getting that puck across the blue line. You know, as I was starting to say about the third man high, you could sense that something was happening in the offensive zone. But again, because they had a third man high, the defensemen were able to pinch in. The turnover is a result of that. Again, right in the neutral zone. Now the Moose have control. Play was deflected by one of the players for the Knights, but you see, moves on in. There's a little bit of a screen there, and Greenlay goes down in the butterfly formation. And Hines is able to let her rip. Chris Hines just let her rip, got good wood on it, and beat Greenlay low to the glove side.
Chris Hines, as you saw in that graphic, his first goal of the season in Minnesota, and a wild one. Now leads this one 5-4.
His coach will know. I'm sure he did already. But that was an irritation to the eye.
Well, Wilkinson looked like he was still blinking his eyes as he went over to the bench area. But Trent Gretzky back to Selemana. Pietrangelo stick save. And this is some of the up and down you can see on a 4-on-4. Kimby Daniels. Hines breaking to the net. Daniels in front. The shot is a save. Rebound. Daniels in it. Great glove save by the defenseman Bannister. Oh, Drew Bannister helping out his goaltender there. Minnesota with two excellent scoring chances.
Kimby Daniels had that one right on his tape, and he pulled it back and then fired it. Tom, I'm not sure, but we'll have to listen in. It almost sounded like a ting as well.
We'll have to see. Bannister threw his right glove up there. He either got a piece of it or just missed it. Now the pass from Snuggerud, but he misfired. And back comes Atlanta. This is Derek Mayer. Mayer's shot save. Pietrangelo.
Here, Dean Kolstad jumped in, went to the backhand, tried to go through the legs. Greenlay, good save, but here's the key. Kimby Daniels, wide open net, bang! The fire puck goes right off the crossbar, right over the arm of Bannister, and at the other end, Derek Mayer comes back with a 2-on-1, tries again, Tommy, to go through the legs, but Pietrangelo shut the door down and Mayer couldn't score. Whoa, slip it through from the outside to the inside, and then come across again, and he gets a good shot on, actually got very good wood on that puck, trying to go high to the short side over the block, and lets a good one go between traffic. Here's the rebound what I'm talking about. That might have just gone off either the short side of the net or off a defenseman's leg, but nonetheless, Stan Drulia, last year's scoring champion.
Jason Ruff and Brad Miller. And here we go.
Ruff's getting some lefts in. Miller's had a pretty active night. This will be his fourth penalty of the game and had a good scoring chance. And now he's going to head-to-head.
I better watch the headbutt there. Ruff still has his helmet on. And the linesman break it up. So our first bout of the evening.
Pretty good tussle.
Yeah. One thing we learned about that man, Ruff, is he is kind of rough, especially with that left hand. The Minnesota Moose lead this.
One right here from Tom Brockman from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. His question is, my question for your mailbox. Wings, centers, and defensemen can only have a blade on their hockey stick that is curved so much before it is illegal. Is there a rule limiting the amount of curve on a goaltender's stick? If so, can the goaltender also be penalized for having an illegal stick? Well, right now, what we see right here is, before we get to the question about the goaltender and their sticks, we have a situation with the NHL players. You want to know how to curve a stick? You can do so. We'll show you, but don't get in trouble like we saw from Marty McSorley. If you're an individual on a team sport, this has to be the worst feeling in the world. The other team has asked the referee to take a measurement of your stick, and a player has that responsibility. A half an inch is the legal limit for a stick to be measured. So the dreaded curve on the blade of the stick. Well, 2 years ago, this ultimately cost the Los Angeles Kings and Marty McSorley a chance at Lord Stanley's Cup. Now, if you're going to sit there at home and you've got one of these sticks that you have to insert the blade, here's how it's done on a carbon composite stick. Heat up the shaft first, then insert the blade. Now, once you've got the blade in there, add heat to it, moderately, so you don't burn it and singe it so it's all stinky. Then you throw that blade in a wringer. This device here will enable you to make a curve on the stick. Now, as I said, 1/2 inch is the legal limit, so you don't want too much of a curve, not a boomerang like that. That looks to be a little bit of trouble, and we'll have to take a measurement to find out if I scored a goal in a big game, whether or not that would be legal. And because of this gauge that the players and the trainers use, it shows us quite clearly there that there's room between the tip of the device and the blade, so that's illegal. So now what we have to do is reheat the blade, put the foot down, and make it legal. This one may be the right one. And yes, it is. We're ready to play some hockey, but wait. Because now it's time for the finishing touch. You have to spray paint the blade black. You know why you do this? So the goalie can't see that black puck on the black blade. Pretty tricky shooters, huh? Now the rule here, Rule 20B, the curvature of the blade shall be restricted in such a way that the distance of that line that we talked about from a straight line drawn from any point at the heel to the end of the blade to the point of maximum curvature shall not exceed 1/2 inch. Now that solidifies in Rule 20C. Now in 20C right here, there is to be no measurement of the curvature of the blade on the goalkeeper's stick. All other elements of the stick are subject to a measurement and the appropriate applicable penalty. Now, Tom Brockman, that's the question that you asked. You asked about a goalie's curve, and I get this question a lot. Here's an example right now of Frank Pietrangelo's stick, the same stick in which he is using for tonight's game. Now, that's a pretty wicked curve right there. And you see that Frank Pietrangelo can have any curve he wants, and he's able to shoot the puck far. Now, the distance of a goalie's blade is from the heel to that top part, and along the blade part as well. If it's too wide, you're still able to get a penalty, but not on the curve of the stick. So, Tom, I hope that answered your question. Help me out, and you can watch Frank Pietrangelo. He can really shoot that puck. If you have any more questions, write to Darren Pang, ESPN Plaza, 935 Middle Street, Bristol, Connecticut, 06010. And don't forget, folks, if you're one of those computer kind of guys.
And who is this? This is Brant Myers of Atlanta. Here we go. This was obviously planned when they were, the linesman. I think they're using discretion here, breaking it up before it starts. And while they escort them to the box, and the players have a few laughs, look at the stats. Shots on goal in favor of the Atlanta Knights. Scoring chances, slight favor there in favor of Atlanta. The Atlanta was taken down, no penalty call. Daniel Shank with it in his own zone to Stefan Morin.
Here we go again.
It's Morissette and Myers again. This time they're going to go.
Oh, boy.
Morissette with that right hand, Darren.
A couple of good ones in. You know, one of the problems when a linesman breaks up a fight prematurely and guys don't get a chance to drop their gloves, they're only going to go at it again the first chance they get.
And that was the first chance as they stepped out of the penalty box. Boom. There they are. Well, those are pretty big boys, and I'd have to rate that a draw.
And Doug Lidster. Watch Lidster try to glove this in front. But Sean Antoski got to it first. Boom, a shot on Mike Richter right through the legs of John McIntyre. And Richter has survived the first two big tests.
Wow. Kovalev out to take this face off. There you see the hits, and there'll be lots of them in this game.
One defenseman up in the play, but two. Brian Leetch is the goal scorer, dot to dot. Zubov to Brian Leetch. Look at Kirk McLean. The patient Kirk McLean was actually out of his crease, apparently ready to face Sergei Zubov.
The game became a little chippy. Let's take a look.
I think they're getting a hang of it, Craig. More games they play, they're getting used to that situation.
Murphy bumped aside. The puck is... Oh, he knocked down the goaltender, Mikulovsky. Let's see if anybody goes after him. Jay Murphy just took a run and knocked Mikulovsky, and the goaltender is not fair game.
Craig, in that situation, that's why I think it's obvious that that should be a major penalty. It is stipulated in the rule book that the goaltender is not fair game. Any contact with a goaltender is an automatic penalty. Well, that was way more than contact. The only motivation there by Murphy is to take out the goaltender. And you know there's that phrase in the rule book, intent to injure. I can only see one reason to try that against the goaltender. But it looks like he's going to the box, so maybe only a minor penalty. There it is. Oh, yeah. He lowers his shoulder, and Mikulášky, the goaltender, is defenseless.
Let's watch and listen. And you can hear the collision. Welcome back to the Rewind Studios. You know,
performance that won't be forgotten.
Born to Iafrate. Nice pass, Jerkovsky. Robbed by Waugh. Big stop there.
I was ready when the game started. You know, I had a good sleep this afternoon. I had a good meal. And even yesterday, it started yesterday to feel better. I ate a lot yesterday. I had 3 normal dinner and really helped me out.
In Montreal, they're calling him St. Patrick after the Habs' critical 5-2 victory. Even at 2 games apiece, the series moved to Boston. But the hero, Patrick Waugh, remained the same.
In from Murray. Can't get it. Stepple. Save Waugh. What a magnificent save there.
The second dinger off the face by Patrick Waugh.
For Shaw. Walks in. Shot. Save. Rebound. Save.
How could he do this night in and night out? They thought they had the game won.
Waugh made 60 saves, holding tight through 3 periods and an overtime until Kirk Muller connected.
Shot in, save, rebound, score! The Canadians win it.
I guess the bottom line is Patrick, gave us a chance to win again. You know, he kept us.
Mogilny at 5. Mogilny riser, he scores! Alexander Mogilny, and it's 3-1 the Sabres.
Alexander Mogilny later had another chance, but Martin Brodeur, New Jersey's rookie goaltender, made this save.
I was there, and it hit my glove. You know, it could have went both ways, but you know, he took a good shot, and you know, he scored on breakaway, so I had to stop him on that shot at least.
New Jersey also got a huge effort from Claude Lemieux. Game tied at 3 in the 3rd period.
Stevens to Lemieux. Moving in. Crossing. In
front. It was a good goal for me. I mean, I'm not that type of fancy player, but I had some good speed coming in, and I wanted to shoot, and he kind of stood me up, and I felt if I pull it through and, you know, try it, and it worked. You know, need some luck and timing, and it worked well for me at that time.
5-3 winners of Game 5. The Devils now had the upper hand. Now it's time for the Alka-Seltzer Plus, who simply put never played better. Leach was plus 11 in 4 games, scoring 8 points, 5 of which came on a highly effective power play.
Leach pressed by Turgeon. Messier, quick pass to Zubov on the Leach. In the slot, Graves, he shoots, he scores!
Oh, what a play.
It's a power play goal!
With the extra man, the Rangers scored a playoff best 8 times in 27 chances. Aggregate goals in the series were 22 for the Rangers and just 3 for the Islanders. The Broadway Blues looked awfully impressive in disposing of their Nassau County cousins.
Our long-term goal is
who entered Game 5 on the verge of elimination, trailing the Capitals 3-1.
The fact of the matter is our backs are to the wall. We've got to show our character. We've got to come out and work harder than the Washington Capitals, and thus far they've outworked us and outplayed us.
With rookie Byron Dafoe replacing Don Beaupre in nets, the Caps were looking to close out an underachieving Penguins team. One example of that was Kevin Stevens, a star in playoffs past. Stevens had been held scoreless in the series. He picked a good time to get back on track.
Going to Stevens, has a chance here. He shoots and scores! Kevin Stevens got it through Dafoe. And the Penguins have tied the game at 2. Kevin Stevens gets his first to the playoffs.
With the score 2-2 in the 3rd period, another Penguins mainstay, Jaromir Jagr, got on board.
Here to center ice comes Christies in his pants. Cut off on the tag on Eddie, and he goes on to Jagr. Moving up into the Caps in. Comes down with a wrist shot. Hey! Shoots and scores! Jaromir Jagr beating Dafoe. And the Penguins lead 3-2. Oh, wow, big cow kick. Jaromir Jagr.
This is the way it used to be when the Penguins were winning Stanley Cup. If a team made one defensive mistake, they made them pay. They might have been outplayed an entire game, but if they made a mistake, they made them pay. They haven't been making them pay until now.
The Pens were still alive heading to Game 6. Now let's find out about Game.
Austin and Al Iafrate were determined to force a 7th game.
Drive in front, and with it, Iafrate cuts, moves, scores! Iafrate makes it 3-2 Boston.
The Washington Capitals found an open door against the Pittsburgh Penguins and barged right through it. Holding the key was a relentless Dave Poulin.
Dave Poulin to Michael Probonka. Penalty upcoming on the Penguins. Here's Probonka to Poulin. Score!
A crushing 6-3 victory in Game 6 capped the series off for Washington. The Capitals had eliminated the once mighty Penguins, who will strive to answer many questions during their long summer. And speaking of long, the Sabres and Devils took their Game 6 into a 4th overtime. Dominik Hasek turned back all 70 shots he faced. Martin Brodeur stopped 49 of 50. The winner came at 1:51 in the morning.
Daw again. Centered one off of Alberline. Hit and score!
Dave Hannon ending the 6th longest game in history.
Playoffs come to the Bay Area for the first time ever. For some, it's early. Only year 3. For others, it's right on time.
The first taste of Stanley Cup frenzy in the Shark Tank. But in Game 3, Detroit took the bigger bite.
Sergei Fedorov comes to center with Ciccarelli and Kozlov. Pulls up, does that button hook at the blue line. Ciccarelli scores!
The Red Wings were 3-2 winners in Game 3. In the playoffs, turnovers can be very costly. Although you'll never see him doing flips, Scotty Bowman had to be happy when his Wings jumped on a Shark miscue in Game 4.
Irbe gives it away, and they score!
Miscommunication here.
Those kinds of mistakes can kill a team, but the Sharks have proved resilient all year. Sergei Makarov is a great example.
A break for Larionov with Makarov, 2-on-1. Here's Igor Larionov. Makarov, they score!
Sharks 4-3. Makarov's winner had evened the series at 2 games apiece. Game 5 in San Jose under the unique 2-3-2 format. Once again, a misplay around the net was just what the Sharks didn't need. But once again, Kevin Constantine's team refused to fold. The number 1 line led the way.
Here's Larionov crossing the line. Drop pass for Makarov. Sergei in on goal. Sharks break it out. Larionov will break to Garbanov. Johan Garbanov. Scores! And the San Jose Sharks are going to win and lead the series 3 games to 2.
On now to the Canucks and Flames quarterfinals. Pound for pound, the toughest and most penalized series of the playoffs thus far has been Vancouver and Calgary. In Game 3, the toll started to show as both Joel Otto and Joe Nieuwendyk left the match with injuries. But the loss of their 2 top centermen only seemed to light a fire under a Flames club that has had to battle through injuries all year.
Here's a 2-on-1. Reichel to Roberts. He scores! That could pretty much put it away for the Calgary Flames.
With their 4-2 win, the Flames led the series 2 games to 1. The Canucks knew they had to come out hard in Game 4, but the Flames weren't planning on yielding an inch. That was especially the case in goal, where Mike Vernon kept the door shut.
Knocked out to center ice. Craven coming in against McKenzie. Falls. Craven going in alone. Great save by Mike Vernon.
That was the difference in Vancouver's 3-2 loss that now had the Canucks facing an early summer. Calgary needed 1 more win to close the series.
Now our backs are to the wall, and we've got to get the job done, and we have to do it with the same sort of effort we got tonight, only better results.
Desperate in Game 5, the Canucks entered the Saddle Dome to find that the Flames were able to get Joe Nieuwendyk back in the lineup. Nieuwendyk assisted on Calgary's only goal, and a 1-1 tie went to overtime. The struggle only became more intense in what truly would have been sudden death for Vancouver, but the Canucks stayed alive.